Hey guys, hope all is well. So we have a bit of a raid event going on right now, and the specialty is XYZ. So the more XYZ monsters you have with materials, then the more damage you do basically. And I just kind of wanted to show off this deck that I put together with just some cards that I had. I was able to reach S rank in damage. This is my highest. I know it's not too much, but this deck got me through, got me by. I just wanted to showcase it, so I'm just gonna spawn a thing here, level 1000, on a raid boss level 2000. So I'll show you without the showdown how it goes, because the showdown definitely will boost your damage by an insane amount. Because one of the abilities will triple your monster's attack, and another one will just boost its attack based on materials. So I just wanted to showcase one duel and then just go over the strategies here. So first things first, Yuma and Astral. As you can see, I'm running Chronomaly because it's very easy to exceed summon with this archetype. And for your skill, you definitely want Zexal 2 Shining Evolution. Very insane skill because you get Utopia for free, and you pretty much can get like a boss monster out for free. So I'll show you how it works. You activate the skill, and there's 3 abilities. You use the first one. This will set Utopia from your extra deck, so you do need Utopia. And then you flip it. Then you activate the skill again. Use the second effect to transform into Zexal. Then you want to exceed into Chaos 39 Utopia Ray. Alright, so now ordinarily you would activate the skill again, and you can change any card in your hand into rank up magic Numeron Force, which will upgrade this into a rank 5. But I already have a rank up card in my deck. This is Limited Variance Force, so I'm just going to use this instead. And you use the Utopia you have, and you're going to want Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. This is your boss monster for this raid. So summon him, same spot. Now this guy's amazing because what he does is you detach a material, and let's detach one of the Utopias, and you can equip a ZW, basically a ZW Exceed monster. So this one's really good because it gives your monster 3000 attack, which is insane. So boom, 5500. Now I got Megamorph. Very important for raids because your life points will always be lower than the raid boss, pretty much. Then Chronomaly is really nice because Utopia's effect will detach an Exceed material. But let me show you how that's really useful. So I summon Jet, activate Jet's effect, becomes 5-star. Since I have a Chronomaly, I special summon Maui. Now I have 2 5-stars. Now I Exceed summon into Vimana. So now that I have Vimana is really crucial for the strategy because you do, like I said earlier, you do more damage the more Exceed materials you have, and you constantly, you're using Exceed materials to boost up your monster here, your boss monster. But Vimana is special because Vimana will recycle. So what you do is you activate its effect, you target your boss monster to pump its attack, and then you target an Exceed monster in the grave or a Chronomaly monster in the grave. So what that'll do is it'll attach that material back to Vimana, and then it boosts your monster's attack by half that monster's attack. So this is a really nice little loop here because you detach here, you get a card here, boost its attack here, and then you reattach this back here. So you're recycling the material, which lets you keep the damage boost during the raid. So that's really nice. So then you go ahead, you attack. Make sure you use the ultimately Leo Utopia Ray's effect. Cut their monster's attack in half. Just for a bit of damage boost. Boom, 40k. And then that's that. And then this boss is very passive. Really doesn't do much. It'll just like set monsters and like whatever, So once again, we're going to do this again. So we're going to detach. We'll detach the other Utopia. And then attach another ZW, boom, plus 3000 attack, activate Vimana's effect, We're going to target our boss monster, and then target the monster in the graveyard, XYZ or Chronomaly, and attach it so it recycled the material and pumped up its attack. So now we summon Golden Jet. We just need a monster just to attack, and don't worry, most of his monsters are gonna have very little defense, so you'll easily get over like almost all his cards pretty much, and then boom, attack again, and then boom, attack. So as long as you have Chronomalies in the grave, this strategy is very nice because you can keep recycling material. Well, this strategy is really nice because you can keep pumping up your boss monster's attack. Now this card would have been useful if I got it earlier, but we'll talk about that later. And then another monster I decided to incorporate, so I'll summon my other jet here, is Papal Operative. So I like this card in this raid because obviously the raid boss is gonna keep setting monsters in defense. So to counteract that, I have this card, which will detach a material to force his monsters into attack. Therefore, I can do damage and not waste an attack, which is very crucial because you want to do as much damage as possible. And then, which is really nice because the mana will just recycle that. Whatever you just attach, recycle it right back into your boss monster. Pump his attack, and then boom. Keep attacking. Don't forget to use Leo's effect. I know I forgot to use it there, but it's okay. It's only 200. And yeah, damage is pretty good. I have 2 Megamorphs, but if I didn't draw this Megamorph, I literally would have just added another Utopia, another ZW Leo arms. So instead of giving me another 2500 attack, it would have just been an extra 500 attack for 3000. It'll just boosted my damage slightly, so you know, that's fine. And then this thing is useful for, you know, summoning, swarming field, all that, making sure you have the right levels. So I'm just going to detach this again, force it into attack mode, and then you can activate his effect, his second effect. This is the one that, you know, lowers his attack, and then I can use Vamana's effect to recycle my Chronomaly that I sent to the grave. So this way, you know, you always have materials on the field. It's a pretty solid strategy. All you need really is the S tier rank in damage. So this was my 8th turn, and I think I did over 200,000. Let me see. Yeah, 250k. If he had more life points, definitely would have hit closer to 300k. And if I were using materials for the raid, then that would have definitely boosted closer to 400k. And if I were doing the showdown, then you could easily reach like 600, 700k, no problem. I know it's probably not a meta strategy out there for this raid, but it did get me through. So yeah, I'll try to spawn another one here. Another 1000. Alright, so he's gonna summon his stuff, and this time he summons 2 monsters, which is kind of annoying, but that's fine. And we kind of dead drew not the best hand, honestly, but we'll work with it. We'll see what we can do. So right off the bat, drop your skill, summon Utopia. Here we go. Activate the skill again, just to morph. Use your second effect. And then you summon your second Utopia. And then you activate the skill a 3rd time to transform one of your cards into Rank of Magic Numeron Force. So I have 3 of these, kind of a dead draw, so it works out. You're not always going to get the perfect cards, so this is kind of a nice failsafe. So rank them up into Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. Here we go. Activate effect. Detach Utopia. Equip ZW arms. Equip Megamorph. A lot of good damage boosting here. And then I like Mud Golem because Mud Golem pierces, which is a nice quality of life during the raid. So for when you use Numeron Force, I don't think you can activate his effect where it lowers his attack in half. So there's that. And then also, as you can see, ZW Leo Arms has a second ability, which if your monster destroys one, then you can send the equip to the grave and it can attack again. But I'm not going to do that because I'm going to lose attack, and also my Mud Golem can pierce anyways, so that would have just been a waste. So we're just going to let him go. He's probably just going to set a monster, not even, perfect. And then I drew another rank up magic. So this is nice because now I can summon my Jet, use Jet's effect, 2 level 5s, and then we go into Vimana. And we're probably not going to use this, so I'm just going to detach this to attach another ZW Leo, and then I'm going to recycle one of the materials and then pump up its attack. So 49,000 and 9,200. And then next turn I can do that again. Because if I get another Mud Golem, that'll be nice. Perfect. Top deck. Summon Mud Golem. And then recycle with Vimana. Pump his attack. Mud Golem pierces, so that's beautiful. And then attack and attack. That was 62k. About. So he's going to lose next turn, so even with a not so good hand, you're still pretty well off. And then this card is nice because you can, if you have a Chronomaly, you can just replace this card, send it to the grave, and you get any Chronomaly from your deck. So it helps set up your summonings here. And let's see, I did 60k, I did about 62k there. Yeah, I'm probably just going to summon her anyways, just so I have more materials on the field. Now I'm up to 6. I think that's the max. Oh, he's got plays. He's got a field spell. Alright, so you just attack, and destroy. So the strategy is always the same. You always want to summon your boss monster, you summon Vimana, and you recycle materials, you keep your materials high, and then you just pump up your boss monster. Very simple strategy. Pretty much always doing over 200k. You're pretty guaranteed to do the level 1000 bosses. I'm gonna try to spawn another one, see if I can get a 2000 one. No luck. No luck there. Only 800. But I assure you, I wouldn't have gotten that damage S rank if that boss didn't have that much life. Alright, I'm just gonna showcase one more duel here. So this is a pretty nice opening hand. I'll show you the strategy with Not. So let's start off by using our skill. Get that Utopia out here. Use a second effect. And you have to use these effects in that order and do this in this order. Because to activate the second effect, you need to have Utopia or a vanilla Utopia on the field. So that's very important because if you skip that and you just go to the third effect, then you're going to end up missing one material in the end. You won't be able to bring out 2 ZW Leos. There we go. I don't have rank up magic in my hand, so I'm going to convert one from my hand. I'll convert one of the Jets. Okay, rank up magic, Numeron Force. Numeron Force is also pretty cool because it negates the effects of all other face-up cards. So if he had useful effects, they would be gone, but he really doesn't have any useful effects. Also, this is why you want to make sure you want to summon the boss monster first, because Numeron Force will also negate your card's effects. So you gotta be careful with that. There we go. Let's bring out... So unfortunately, I don't have Megamorph or my continuous spell. So I can't really pump up its attack that too much right now, but that's fine. So the strategy with Not is you summon him, and you summon another card, and its level becomes that card's level. So if you had a 5-star, you could summon him, and then you have 2 5-stars. But I like to use him on this Golden Jet right here, because Jet can boost levels by 1. So use his effect. Now you have 2 level 5s, which is beautiful. Now you can bring out your Vimana. So it's very consistent, the strategy. Only if you truly have a bad hand, then you can't really, bring out your full wrath. Alright, so we'll use Vimana's effect. Recycle first you gotta target your boss monster, then recycle the Utopia, then boost his attack, and you go ahead and go ham. And then Nebra Disc is nice because you summon him and then you get to add any Chronomaly to your hand. So there you go, there's Megamorph. Just what I was looking for. Let's boost him up. Then use his effect. Bring out another ZW Leo. Then Vimana's effect. Target your boss. And recycle the material. Now, I'm going to summon Mud Golem instead of Nebra Disc because I kind of want the piercing effect. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to summon the Knot. And then then I'm going to summon Nebra Disc and then use Nebra Disc to search out another Mud Golem. So real quickly, I'll just talk about this. So Chronomaly Temple, this is nice because first of all, if this is in your starting hand, you get a second normal summon. So it helps build up your Chronomalies pretty nicely. As long as you control no monsters or if you already have only Chronomaly monsters. But that aspect of the strategy is not what we use at all. The only aspect that we use this card for is if I have this in my starting hand, and then I have my Leo, I can, instead of detaching a material from Leo, I can just send this face-up continuous card to the grave instead. And what that does is it saves me one material. So yes, there's not going to be a Utopia in the grave for my Vimana to boost up my ultimate Leo, but it'll save me a material and let me use its effect again to get another ZW in the future. So that's the whole strategy there. And then this is nice only because of Guardian Knot, so that I have a fourth level 5 monster. Also, if I draw this in my starting hand, I just convert it into Numeron Force. You know, it's not too bad. I'm sure there are better strategies with this particular genre, but this is just what I was able to come up with on like a pretty last minute kind of situation here. So I'm just gonna add another Mud Golem and then overlay into Papal Operative. And then that's nice. Numeron Force is negating his face up. It's just a permanent negate, so that's nice. So Operative will detach Mud Golem to force his monster into attack mode. Then I'm going to activate Vimana's effect, target my boss, then recycle this material, and then activate Leo's effect to cut his monster's attack in half, even though it only had 200. Whatever, I don't care. It's extra damage. There we go. And then he's left with a very minuscule amount, but whatever that amount is, it's still going to be more than what I have. So Megamorph is always going to be relevant here. And then I don't even need to detach Papal Operative because Mud Golem can pierce, but I'm still going to do it anyways just so I can recycle the material and boost up Leo's attack. There we go. So whatever I attack with, he's going to lose. So I'm just going to attack with Leo and do the most amount of damage possible. And that's that. Most amount of damage, no surprise. Okay, so real quick, I just want to go over the deck list. Here we go. So I have 1 Carrier, 3 Mauis, 1 Crystal Skull, 1 Nebra Disc, 3 Golden Jets, 3 Mud Golems, 3 Knots, 2 Megamorphs. I have XYZ Import. This will steal his monster and just make it my material. So there's that. And then I have Variance Force. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Chronomaly Temple. As far as your extra deck is concerned, you don't need this at all. Yeah, this is all you need. You just need these 8 cards. And I'd argue you don't even need a third Leo. There we go. This is pretty much all you need. These 7 cards, and then these Chronomalies. The main strategy requires Utopia, a Chaos Utopia. It could be any Chaos Utopia. It doesn't have to be Utopia Ray. Because you're just gonna rank it up anyways. But you definitely want Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. This is what's gonna boost up your attack. This is what brings out your Leo arms. So that's nice. And then Papal Operative is just a added quality of life in this particular raid. And then of course Vimana is also very crucial in recycling your materials. And then lastly, Shining Evolution, also very important. I was originally running Ultimate Unite, because I didn't have Shining Evolution. But once you get Zexal 2 Shining Evolution, you definitely want to be using this because it's really nice. It's a very free setup and free strategy. And lastly, I don't remember how I got these Chronomalies. I think I was farming for something else. Most of these cards you can get just by beating Trey over and over again, just farming him. Some of them you can get from this box, and then others you can get from this box. And then I think I got my Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray through an event, but in case you weren't able to, they're also in this box. I'm pretty sure I got regular Utopia from just the deck. A lot of the Utopias are in these boxes, so you can just pull it from there. And then Vimana you also get from there. Papal Operative you get from here. And then ZW Leo Arms you can also get from here. So a lot of the Utopia good stuff you get from Hope of the Universe, so that's kind of nice. And then Megamorphs, I think I had to... You can farm them from here, or you can just trade up some Dream Tickets if you have any spare lying around. There are better stuff to use your Dream Tickets on, but that's where I got that. And then I think I got XYZ Import from a Duel Capsule, but I don't remember, honestly. It might have just been from beating Alito. And then Variance Force I got from here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys either are able to use this, with some satisfaction. If you guys have any feedback or any tips on improving damage, then please let me know. I'd love to hear it. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time.